All right, question time. Yeah, we're going a little shorter today. Sorry. I got a couple other things I got to do. Trying to get everything done. Trying to go 5 for 5 this week as well, though, in the final week of our 5-week hiatus as I filibuster my way through locating the tweet that poses today's questions. And here it is. Mild advanced review. Not detailed, but I'm not going into this cold. All right, let's see. Corey Joskowitz, can NFL teams allow players to sign a Bobby Bonilla deal? How would this affect the salary cap? Is it counted against the cap prorated? And then the $1 million a year is paid until complete. Is the $1 million a year against the cap every year? Would a player ever do this? Time value of money, yada, yada, yada. Look, plenty of times payments are deferred. Signing bonus payment. $10 million signing bonus. Get some of it now, get some of it next year, get some of it the following year. This Bobby Bonilla deal was kind of a unique thing because he could have had like 5.9 up front and decided to take the $1 million annuity payment every year through 2035, I think, because the Mets decided we'll just put that 5.9 million in an investment and it'll pay the money to Bobby Bonilla. So 6 of one, half dozen the other. The problem is they put the money with Bernie Madoff. So, oops. Now, I don't think we'll ever see something quite so creative as it relates to NFL contracts, but deferred money happens all the time. And it hits the cap when it's earned. When it's paid is a different issue altogether. But if you get a $10 million signing bonus and you're not going to get all of it for 2 or 3 years, it gets put on the books as a $10 million signing bonus earned the day you sign your contract, and it gets processed accordingly on a 4-year deal. It gets split up $2.5 million a year for each of the 4 years. So yes, I guess something like that could happen, but it's such a rare thing. I don't see it happening in any sport ever. And I don't see any baseball team ever rolling the dice on something like that again. PFTP and Posse, should the traditional formula for long-term deals for franchise tag players change, especially with the salary cap set to explode in positions like safety and tight end where it doesn't truly represent the market? And PFTP and Posse paying attention to the things we've said in the past. The basic formula is you take the franchise tag player's salary due this year, and you take his salary due next year, and you put it together and you fully guarantee it. And that's how you take that franchise tag and turn it into a long-term deal with years 3, 4, and 5 on the back end. Could things change? Should things change? You could argue that a bunch of factors come into play here. The Deshaun Watson contract may be a factor. The idea that players may be willing to go year to year. That, at some positions, especially quarterback, like, is there really a significant risk that you're not going to want me next year? If we've gotten to the point where I've played for you for 4 or 5 years, it's clear that I'm getting the job done. Is there really going to be another Kirk Cousins situation where a team wouldn't want to sign a guy and a guy would fall off? I mean, Cousins didn't fall off. He rolled the dice and he won. Tagged for 2 years, and then Washington let him walk. I think that as more players go year to year, I think that could force one contract at a time. And that's how it happens. One deal at a time. There's a new structure, a new term, a new high watermark, a new way of doing things. And then other players use that with other teams or with the same team to try to follow suit. Just like what happened with the Steelers last year. The Steelers, one of the only 3 teams as of a year ago, Bengals, Packers, Steelers, that refused to fully guarantee money beyond the first year of a veteran non-quarterback contract. Well, they tore that practice up with TJ Watt, and now they did it again with Minka Fitzpatrick, and now it's gone. That's how it happens, one deal at a time. So to answer the question, it all is something that could occur one deal at a time. So yeah, I mean, we always have to be looking for changed circumstances, and the Watson contract changes circumstances. The cap changes circumstances. The way that the franchise tag is calculated and how it's lagging behind the market value, that changes circumstances too. And it comes down to a good agent persuading a team to do things differently. Just like the Texans were persuaded to fully guarantee 3 years on a 4-year second-round draft picks contract. That becomes the domino that causes more contracts to follow suit. That's how it happens. All right. One more from PFTP and Posse. If the Browns gave Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed $230 million contract and traded a boatload of picks, how much would he or another true franchise quarterback get on the open market? And, that's a great point because, look, the Browns gave Watson this tremendous deal and gave up a bunch of draft picks to get him. It wasn't just Deshaun Watson's available and he goes to the highest bidder. Now it's simulated open market because they brought 4 teams to the table and they cast the Browns aside, and the Browns decided we got to get this guy. So we got to get his attention. How about 5 years, $230 million fully guaranteed? But I think that if a truly unrestricted quarterback who is a true franchise guy, I mean, top of the stack, and top 5, hey, he's a top 5, you're going to have 10 top 5. If you try to do top 10, hey, he's top 10, you're going to have 20. True top 5. And I'm not going to name names because I'm going to leave someone out. True top 5 talent becomes an unrestricted free agent, which will never happen. It would be like in today's market, probably get $55 million a year, maybe $60 million a year. True franchise quarterback, year in and year out, who has proven it time and again. Mahomes, if all of a sudden he's available on the open market, and the term that I've been advocating for years, percentage of the salary cap. So you're protected against your deal becoming obsolete by the cap going up and up and up. You have a minimum salary, so you're protected against the cap going down, but then you have a kicker that is tied to a percentage of the cap. That is permitted under the CBA, but the teams have refused to do it. A little bit of collusion going on, a little bit of collusion. Not that anybody's going to do anything about it, but just like the Browns broke ranks with 5 years fully guaranteed, somebody else would have to break ranks for a percentage of the cap. And it would take the kind of guy, like the equivalent of Reggie White as a quarterback. Remember Reggie White back in 93, for those of you who were alive then? The first highly pursued free agent. He was able to duck the franchise tag in Philadelphia because he was one of the named plaintiffs in the lawsuit that sparked the new system. So he goes to the market. All these teams want him. You get a quarterback who's in that kind of demand. Yeah, it would be a ridiculous amount of money, and it would all be guaranteed. And I'd like to think there would be a percentage of the salary cap in play as well to protect against the cap going up and that contract being stale. Neil watches PFT with the news that Leonard Fournette showed up to camp weighing 30 pounds over his listed weight. Do you know of any contract provisions that would void any of his guarantees? Tom Coughlin used to write weigh-ins into contracts to avoid these situations. Are those still common? It can be negotiated. And I can't remember who it was. I think it was Trent Brown. He's got specific weight incentives and clauses and bonuses in his contract with the Patriots, all aimed at keeping him in an ideal range. And that can be negotiated into a contract. And you can be fined for being over whatever weight you're supposed to be. I don't know that it voids any guarantees. It all comes down to how the contract is written. And I'm not aware of anything with Fournette. He's just at risk of, losing his starting job and or being cut if he doesn't get himself in shape. And I know people say that's what training camp is for. Guys stay in shape all year round now. This isn't like the 70s where guy goes and works another job in the off season and doesn't really exercise and is smoking cigarettes and eating bacon and pork rinds and, needs to get in shape. When they had 6 preseason games and 14 regular season games, guys needed that. Nowadays, guys are in shape all the time. So it is a little jarring to see the report that Leonard Fournette was 260 and he's going to have to literally work his ass off, literally, when training camp opens to get himself in shape. Now, people said that there is some Instagram evidence that he's already doing that on his own. And, look at, hey, it's a never-ending fight for anybody who ever weighed more than they should. And I resemble that remark. Trust me. It is a constant fight to stay in an ideal weight range. And sometimes, for one or more reasons, you fall off the horse. If food only didn't taste so damn good, it would be a hell of a lot easier. All right. This is an interesting question. I got to be careful what I say here. NFL leads. Have you ever been approached to work for the NFL or an NFL team? If you were offered a GM position for that once in a lifetime opportunity, would you give it a go? Clearly, you can handle the criticism associated with the job. The NFL would never offer me a job. The league office would never, ever. But some would say maybe they should. You know, I'm the guy you buy, not the guy you kill. Maybe that would be the argument. There was at one point 5 years or so ago, just kind of a loose conversation, but I'm not interested in giving up what I have. I'm not interested in signing on to this reality. And it wouldn't have been a GM job, but I'm not interested in signing on to a reality where any given year could be your last year. And then you get thrown back into the blender and you got to go find another job, or you don't. What I have now is immune to wins and losses. What I have now will last as long as I'm alive and or want to keep doing it. So I'm not giving up what I have now, ever. And as much as I would love to win a Super Bowl ring in some capacity with any team in position to win one, I'd rather do what I'm doing now and just buy a Super Bowl ring one of these days on eBay or wherever. Neil watches PFT. Do you ever think we'll see a player sit out the entire year to avoid playing on the franchise tag like Le'Veon Bell did? Do you think there will be players who dress for the minimum games as set by the Joey Galloway precedent? Look, I think we could see Jesse Bates this year show up for the minimum number of games. That's his only real path if he says he doesn't intend to play under the tag. And the Le'Veon Bell thing, a lot of people like to drag Le'Veon Bell for what he did. A lot of people took some perverse glee in the fact that he sat out all year and his career didn't work out after that. Well, you know what? The guarantees that he got from the Jets after sitting out the full year, I remember doing the math at the time he signed that contract and comparing it to what he gave up and what he would have gotten if he'd played that year. And we don't know what he would have gotten if he had played a whole year under his second tag with the Steelers. Maybe he wouldn't have gotten very much. Maybe people would have realized based on that second franchise tag year that he wasn't worth the contract that the Jets gave him. But I think a quarterback could do it, because a quarterback could take confidence in the fact that if I sit out a full year, I'm still going to be in demand, as evidenced by Deshaun Watson sitting out a full year for different reasons entirely, but still getting 5 years, $230 million, fully guaranteed. So the way it works is that second tag is the time to do it. You sit out the whole year, and then the next year it counts as third tag, even if you didn't play under the second tag. And third tag is the one that teams just won't apply, and then you become a free agent. So someone could do that at some point, sit out the entirety of the second year of the franchise tag. And I think a quarterback would be the one to consider doing it. All right, I should probably wrap this up. We have a request from Will Shaman for a preseason PFT Chris Sims Unbuttoned Joint Mega Picks podcast, where we talk about favorite picks or interesting bets for the season, win totals, division odds, player props, etc. Good primer for the season. I have passed that along to the powers that be. And unless they are just humoring me, that may be something that we ultimately do. So great suggestion. Paul Silva, let's wrap on this one. When looking at the failure of the Kirk Cousins-Mike Zimmer relationship, people always seem to blame Zimmer. Why doesn't Kirk get any of the blame? He has two failed head coaching relationships, Mike Zimmer and Jay Gruden. Kirk gets plenty of blame. I've blamed him plenty the last 4 years. Kirk is a guy who can get it done when everything is set up for him just perfectly. Any adversity during a play, and he can't turn it into chicken salad. The best quarterbacks in today's NFL are the ones who, but for Tom Brady, can take that play that goes to hell and on the fly craft a second play that turns a bad situation into a good one. Now, what Brady does, and this is what I think Cousins needs to aspire to do. I think this is Cousins' ceiling. The play that's called, get to the point where you make your reads pre-snap and you know where the open guy is going to be. And you get the ball to him before the walls close in. But if the walls close in, you find a way to bail out, duck and cover, live to play another day. That's what Brady has done in his 40s to avoid injury. He didn't want to get hit by guys literally half his age and injured. The more he gets hit, the more he's going to get injured, the more likely he's going to be done. That's what Cousins needs to do. The Brady approach, not the Mahomes approach, where, oh crap, everything's falling apart. I'm going to run around until somebody's wide open. And it's just that inherent artistry. Josh Allen fits into that category. Aaron Rodgers can make that happen. What Cousins needs to do, and this is why he's been criticized, when the walls close in, he goes deer in the headlights. He just does. He doesn't know what to do. Maybe with Kevin O'Connell, maybe with a better head coach than what he's had the past 4 years in Minnesota, because the guy's not a defensive coach. Maybe with someone who's more interested in propping him up instead of tearing him down. You know, Zimmer's got that Parcells approach. And I think the Jimmy Johnson approach is much better. The Jimmy Johnson approach is you need to figure out each guy. What makes each guy tick? And what is each guy going to react to? Some guys react better to negative reinforcement. Some guys only react well to positive reinforcement. Bill Parcells just chewed out everyone. That cantankerous, curmudgeonly, old school head coach, that doesn't work anymore. I'm not sure it ever did. It doesn't work anymore. And Kirk Cousins may not be a guy who gets to his maximum level, getting his ass chewed all the time by Mike Zimmer. So maybe Kevin O'Connell comes in, tries to prop him up, put him in situations where the walls aren't closing in, and try to coax him to the point where, in those occasions where things aren't working, he just finds a way to get rid of the ball and not throw it into the hands of an opposing player. Find a way to get rid of the ball, end the play, move on to the next one, and trust the next one will work. Hopefully the next one of these will work better than this one. Although, I don't know, this one, I don't know. Was it that bad? I don't know. I do no reflection. I just move on to the next thing. And that's what I'm going to do today. Got a lot to do today. Got to wrap this up. I'm going to move on to my next thing. Here's all the best to you as you move on to your next thing. And the next big thing for PFT is the return of PFT Live, Monday, July 25. Until then, I'm going to do my best this week. I'm 2 for 2. Can we get to 3 for 3, 4 for 4, 5 for 5? We'll find out Wednesday whether I keep the streak alive. Have a great day. Thanks as always for some of your time. See you real soon.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.